But the Quran goes even further in its elucidation of human rights. That all human beings don't only have these four characteristics, but they have something else, something very, very deep as a human being, which is karama. That وَلَقَدْ قَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. That we have given nobility to Bani Adam, the children of Adam. In other words, dignity is given by God, and only God has the right to take away the dignity. I do not have a right to touch your character. You do not have a right to touch my character, because dignity is embodied in the question of character. You take away my character, reputation, for example, basically it's become very difficult for me to survive in the society. Therefore, even if we are told that even if you know somebody has done wrong, you hide it. I'm reminded here of the saying of Sadi in his Gulistan. He says that God knows what we are doing wrong, yet He hides it. He knows what our weakness is, He hides it. Your neighbor just hears about it and makes sure everybody knows about it. Huh? Your neighbor hasn't even seen it, he just hears about it. He makes sure that everybody hears it. But that's human beings. There's a very beautiful anecdote that Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was moving around in Kufa, and he meets a Christian who is apparently visiting Kufa. He's weak, he's hungry, and very poorly clothed. And the Imam asked his companions, "Ma hada?" And they said, "This is just a Christian visiting." The Imam says, "I did not ask you man hada. I did not ask you who is this. I asked you what is it. I didn't ask you man hada. I asked you ma hada." Whether he's Jewish, Christian, or any religion is immaterial. He's a human being. Therefore, clothe him and take the money from Baytul Mal, the Imam says. Clothe him, feed him. Because as long as Ali ibn Abi Talib is the Khalifa, no human being will walk around like that. This is what we mean by human rights, by the way. It is us who say, no, the zakat must only go to, or she asked, oh, this one. When a person is hungry and poor, you don't ask him his religion, my friend. You ask him that he's a human being, he needs something. Therefore, again, you'll recall that as Imam Hassan was coming back after having buried their father, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, they hear a person crying, and Imam Hassan goes up to him and says, "Why are you crying? It's a person who is blind." He said, "Well, for 3 days now, there was a person who was coming to feed me, who would sit with me. He's no longer there, he doesn't come." Imam Hassan says, "Can you describe him?" He said, "I can't see, but I kept asking me, who are you?" And remember what he would answer? Al-Miskin Jalis al-Miskin. That a poor man sitting next to a poor man. This was Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was the Khalifa of the time, by the way. The Khalifa of the time is sitting next to a poor man saying, Al-Miskin Jalis al-Miskin. This is what we mean by human rights. Sorry, I'm overcome, but you cannot have when you talk of human rights. And therefore, even the Quran says, Inna akramakum indallahi. It is addressing all human beings. Indeed, the most noble of you, in the eyes of your Lord, is the most pure of you. So, he doesn't say the most noble of you is the most Muslim of you, for example, or the most prayer, the one who prays most. It's most pure in terms of taqwa. I think when we look at all these, we get a really clear picture of what Islam expects out of us as human beings. That karama, dignity, is something that we as human beings have to uphold. And we as human beings cannot afford to be morally neutral. We talk so much these days of political correctness. We have to be politically correct. We hardly ever talk about moral correctness. That we have to be morally correct. Because in the eyes of Allah, what matters is not political correctness, but how correct we are morally. To put it differently, as I tell my colleagues many times, that we have devalued ourselves. When I say devalued means we have removed ourselves or distanced ourselves from the values that we have been ingrained. My friends, we do not need to share religion to get along well. We need to share moral principles, common moral principles. I want to end now. I know I've taken more than my time, my fair share of time. But what I'm surprised at is how Muslims give fatwas after fatwas in the name of Islam to kill innocent human beings. And those people with the biggest beard that we ever want to see, the Taliban I'm talking about, and Al-Qaeda, they go around, they kill more Muslims
ask fatwa after fatwa. In the name of Islam. Here is a religion which tells us that you cannot even pluck leaves out of a tree. You have to respect the vegetation. You have to respect crops. When you are going to war, you cannot destroy trees, you cannot destroy crops, because they are part of God's creation. And here are Muslims giving fatwas to kill fellow human beings. You see what I mean? How we've lost touch with our sense of humanity. I want to end now with just to go back to Imam Hussein, because this lecture is all about Imam Hussein. That we know that even when he meets the people of the army of war in the middle of the desert, what does he do, This is what we mean by human rights. Imam Hussein's teaching is not human rights, but the right of all creatures that God created. He turns to Abbas and says, Isqul Qawm, that give water to the whole people, the whole group. Not only that, even the animals were given water. By Imam Hussein, by the way. Because even animals have got right to get water. Interestingly, on the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein does not come and taunt his enemies. He says, well, I gave you water on the road, how come you not giving me water here? He demanded, ask for water. There is no shame to ask for water, by the way. Because water is a commodity of God. It's a blessing from God. Nobody has right over water. Everybody has a right to share that water, not to own that water, unless you have this bottle of water. But seriously, Imam said, ask for water. There was no shame in it. Right? He did not talk this. Well, I gave you water there. Why did you give me water here? What was also beautiful, I think, about the whole event is when Hur comes to Imam Hussein. Look at the conscious, first of conscious again. The Hur's conscious was active. It beat him very, very deeply. To the extent that he comes to Umar ibn Sa'd and says, Ibn Sa'd, is there a way we can avoid this conflict? Before the fighting started. And Umar ibn Sa'd said, oh, there's no way. Got a letter from Ibn Ziyad says, either he gives bay'ah or we kill him, or we fight him. That time Hur says, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot live with myself. And he comes to Imam Hussein. The way he comes is, our sources tell us, he literally falls at the feet of Imam Hussein. قَدْ جِئْتُكَ تَائِبًا مِمَّا كَانَ مِنِّي. I have come repentant to you what I've done. And here I think, again, the human rights, the issue of forgiveness. Because if Hur is showing us how to ask for forgiveness, Imam Hussein is showing us how to forgive. Because he embraces both. For Hur, you are as noble and as free as your mother has named you. Your mother has named you well. You are free and you are noble. You are forgiven too. And if we're talking of human rights, one of the most beautiful part of Karbala is when Imam Hussein is all alone. And he turns to his Lord at that time. That everything Imam Hussein did was for the sake of his Lord. So he turns and says, oh my Lord, I turn to you now. By the time my enemies have forsaken me, some of my friends have abandoned me. I turn to you, my complaint is to you alone. Everything I had, I gave it away. Because of my love for you. Because of my love for you. I submit myself to you alone. And then he utters those immortal words. And with this I finish. إِنْ كَانَ دِينُ مُحَمَّدٍ لَمْ يَسْتَقْفِرْ إِلَّا بِقَتْلٍ فَلْيَعْصُيُوهُ خُذِينِهِ. If the religion of Muhammad cannot be saved except for my being killed, then all souls come and get me. He's saying we lie on the path, but he will not live